instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. All right, well, welcome to another episode of the Flagstick Podcast. I'm Jeff Botter. This guy is Scott McLeod. And the Flagstick Podcast is brought to you by Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier Canadian golf destination boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country, with over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine, top-tier accommodation, and exquisite culinary experiences. It is the easiest golf vacation that you will ever book. So book your golf vacations at golfpei.ca. Check us out, obviously, on all our social media networks, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And we really do encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which many of you have been. Like us and click the notification bell to make sure that you don't miss anything that we happen to put up there, as we do put new content up pretty much on a weekly basis right now.
You got it. Jeffrey Botter. Jeff is a year older. If anybody's tuning into this podcast, they're going to see the title. Yeah, it's Jeff's birthday. Happy birthday, Jeff. Before we get to it,
thank you. Yeah. Very, very excited about this honor.
And comes once a year.
Yeah, it comes once a year.
Whether you like it or not.
The later that they come, the more they come at this point, the less I want them to come. So,
well, that's
it's a reality, though. Eh?
It's always good to celebrate birthdays.
Yeah, it's always good. 44 is not that old, though.
44.
It's not that old, really.
44.
I feel a little older, but it is what it is.
He's not 44.
44. I wish
you'd try. 44. When we get to the back nine, people will know it's not 44.
54.
They can do the math.
54. I said earlier that you're 9 months older than I am.
I am. So
I look to you for wisdom on what does it feel like, Scott? What does it feel like to be old at 54? Well, what does that feel like?
Here's the thing, and you know this: if you keep young people around
54, I don't know how much I know.
I know, but if you keep young people around in your life, coaching, kids, all sorts of different activities, you keep active, you don't feel 54. And I'm happy that a lot of people that I'm, around in the golf business, whatever, when they ask me how old I am and I say, they're like, "Oh, you don't seem like you're 54." So that's good.
I
that
get
tells
that
me that
too. Like, honestly,
right,
I do get that a lot too. A lot of people do not believe that I am in my 50s.
I just have to keep my hat on, because as soon as I take my hat off and they see the gray hair,
I don't
then
have that.
they
I don't
know.
have that issue. So
you got a beard, dude.
Yeah,
it's got
and
gray.
You can see a little bit of the crunchy in there. There's a little bit of the crunchy in there. And it's funny because so there's days where I do feel, there's no days where I feel young. There's days where I feel it. Yesterday was not one of those days. Yesterday, today's Thursday, but yesterday, because I had a double on ice sessions. I had my own my own group that I work with every Wednesdays for an hour on puck control stuff, and then I went straight from there, came home, grabbed a quick bite to eat, threw my other gear, changed my tracksuit because of the hockey coach stuff, and then off to another rink for a 2-hour practice. And then I come home and it's just like, oh my God, I can't walk. It's like, this is not good. I can't do the double days too many times. But
I had one of our good friends, Sean Ball, was over last night in the cave. And he had came back from Toronto. He's living back in Kingston now.
Nice.
And,
good for him. That's awesome.
And which is great to see. But he came over for a little, we're working on his game a little bit, and he was 11 before he left here. This is the good and the bad of having, a sim in your house for doing stuff. And it's like, what am I doing at 11 o'clock? Like, still, and people just don't realize, when you're working with someone, and you realize it obviously from a coaching, it takes a lot mentally. You're thinking about stuff all the time, and so it's, you're not just hanging around for a bunch of hours through your double practices or whatever. Your brain's going nonstop.
Well, but the good thing is, when you're doing it, like you said, when you're doing it at home, like you are, you finish up at 11. He pops out, leaves. You go upstairs and you're done, and that's it. You're just done. True. Roll into bed, crash on the couch, the chair, whatever. If you were doing the same thing and you were in town somewhere, then you gotta lock everything up, put everything in your
Yeah.
car, drive home, stop at Timmy's because
which
you know
I'll,
you're going to.
which I'll have a little bit this winter, which we'll get to at some
Yes,
point, not on this
yes,
show, but we've got one of our good friends and sponsors has got an intro coming up, and I noticed some of his ads starting this week on
yeah.
flagstick.com. So but yeah, we'll get to that at some point, but not on this show. So
All right. Well, with that, let's get to, well, what are we gonna, I guess we're gonna talk about, we're gonna get caught up a little bit on some of the
yeah,
current things. There's not a ton of stuff, but there are some things we'll get caught
enough.
up on the front nine and the back nine. It appears as though we're going to celebrate my birthday with some related trivia and talking points and stuff based on
Yeah. We got some golf
my
stuff. We got some
age.
hockey stuff in there that
Oh
I'm sure a
God,
lot of
yeah,
people relate to.
this should be fun.
Yeah, I mean, whether you know it or not really
Hard to
doesn't
top
matter.
last week though.
Would you rather last week
Oh
was
my
really
gosh. Okay, so
fun?
let's get to the front nine. The front
Sure,
nine is
okay.
presented by Metcalf Golf Club, a natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Well, get ready for 2025. Metcalf's Game Pack sale is on now. If you buy before October 31st this year, you get one free round for every 10 passes that you purchase, which is awesome. One free round of golf. You're going to play 10 anyway. Visit
Sure.
metcalfgolf.com to purchase your game passes now. Okay, so let's just back up to right before we did that.
Yeah,
And
would you rather
yeah,
last
would you
week?
rather? I want to kind of go back to would you rather before we get into some of the news and notes stuff because we've done a lot of segments, we've done a lot of trivia type things and things like
Oh,
that.
sure.
That one
Yeah.
was like that one was awesome. That one is the one that I think I've gotten probably more feedback, more response from, and I
Yeah.
think too because after the show, then you posted it on flagstick.com where everybody could kind of look at here's the complete list of questions.
Yeah.
And I've been getting emails and I've been getting messages, and I sat down and I went through the whole list with my son Brandon and
Yeah.
and kind of asked his opinion as a young guy. Like it was just such a great little would you rather, and that was such an awesome thing.
Yeah, definitely got the same thing. Lots of text, lots of responses, lots of listens, and yeah, it's fun. And we'll look to do some more of that. And I think the thing is, we're going to ask for more feedback all the time on the podcast, and we want that feedback from people to help shape the shows and get them what they want. But certainly hearing from more is like, okay, let's we love all the facts, we love all the stories, we love all the context, but a little fun never
Oh yeah,
hurts. So yeah,
more fun, better.
more fun.
All right, well, let's get into it here.
Yeah.
Kind of like a little coming and going
Mm.
right now in shifting golf landscapes in our industry. Um, Unfortunately, this does happen from time to time where courses shut down.
Yeah.
But it's happening to the Petawawa Golf Club. Um, Used to be Twin Rivers, right?
Trim Rivers at one
Yeah.
point, yeah, it's been back and forth, had a few names over its 60 years of operations, but yeah, people should realize, it's located on the base at Petawawa, but it's not run by the base. It's an outside operation, and they had a leasee in the Paul and Karen Cote, but unfortunately, the base has determined that the clubhouse building, the main building that's there, they think it's unsafe for future use. They're not going to have the funding available. The base is not going to be to, make the building safe for operation. So unfortunately, they canceled the lease for the building. They gave an initial offer, I guess, from what I've read in the base commander's letter that was issued last year. They said, "Oh, maybe we'll consider an alternate, operation without the use of that main building." But without a clubhouse, it's pretty hard to kind of run operations. And part of the operations that they ran there as well was weddings and so forth. It's a fairly large building, so that was things that would derive revenue and stuff for them. But unfortunately, they're going to close up. Last day of operation will be November 9th. They just did a big sale last weekend, furniture items, wedding banquet decor and stuff like that. But unfortunately, it is no more. Yeah, which
Could they
is
not, with
unfortunate
that
for that
particular
community.
facility, could they not bring in like a like a Dickie Moore or whatever it is there, and just run the golf course. I mean, from a profitability standpoint, probably not bringing enough money to maintain, but that's a lot of people. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously those golfers on the base,
Mm-hmm.
they're
They're
going to
gonna
end
have to
up
go
going
elsewhere.
elsewhere, which
Pembroke,
means Pembroke,
Deep
yeah.
River. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that,
They're
and
get.
how much room is
Yeah.
there for the Pembroke? Pembroke's got a pretty
Well,
heavy membership base as it is.
yeah, that's the other side of it. So,
Deep River's
yeah,
only 9 holes.
right. So, I mean, those places are busy as it is. I don't know the operations of it, but I would have to assume that, when you're looking at that golf course and, if you do not have those clubhouse operations and, the revenue that's associated with it, it just probably doesn't make it attractive. And it's just unfortunate for them, but yeah. So good luck to everyone, especially the
Yeah,
golfers
sorry to
that are
see
up in
that
that
happen,
community.
but
Yeah.
on the other side of that, you had a chance to drop into the Bay of Quinte Golf Club to take a tour of the expansive
Yes.
renovations that they're undergoing. I saw the images on our
Yep. There'll be
website and our
more.
social. Um, Very impressive so far. What I'm seeing anyway, as far as the
Yes.
diagrams of what they're going to do.
Yeah, so they had the original course goes back to 1921 there, and then they added and expanded the golf course in the 1960s, full 18 for a long, long while. Members sold to a local entity, Roger Lichty, a number of years ago, and he's been slowly transforming this. He's purchased a lot of extra land, and in fact, he just got a little bit more. I happened to drop in. I was on my way back from London, talked to Quinton in the pro shop, and then went out on the golf course and ran into Jim Burlington, who's there as the GM. Unfortunately, Russ De Silva, the head pro, was not there that day. But running into Jim was great because he could take me. I could tour the 9 new holes that are there, and
Okay.
then a few of the other ones that are probably going to be available to preview play next year. But because I ran into Jim, jumped into his cart, and we ran into Jason Miller, the architect, and he took me off road to
Nice.
everywhere. So I got to see everything that's being built, some of the new designs. It's definitely going to be, it'll be 36 holes by 2026, and they'll have what we'll call a premium course and the original course. 2 different price points, 2 different designs, but they're also building more accommodations there. They have 2 large places right now. They're going to be building more. They have a lot more extensive plans that I can't really, kind of get into as far as some of the different amenities and things like that. But, they're investing in their future, and it's great to see. I mean, that Bay Quinte area is just popping when it comes to golf. And I'm just excited to see how it's going to play out here. There's some great holes out there, some great visuals, and I'll put together a little bit more video as well. I took a lot more that's out there, and I'll share that on our social at some point soon.
Awesome. All right. Let's move through some more stuff here in the
Sure.
front 9. OVJ has now released the grids,
Yeah, the grids.
for 4 of the 2025 intersectionals for women's, senior women's, men's, and senior men's, and those are available at Flagstick on flagstick.com. A little too extensive, a little too in depth for us to kind of go through them all.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, though, most people that play intersectionals on a regular basis know what grid they just dropped into. So
yeah, the only issue is that with a golf course like Petawawa going out, that creates a different shift as well. And then there are some openings as well, and we've got the details in there. Susan Veal provided those for us, but we've got the PDFs of all the grids there if people want to download them and have a look at them. And the junior ones are to come at a later date.
Yes. The junior ones, there generally is a lot of openings and stuff. I mean, it'd be nice if we get a few more of the clubs involved in the junior intersectionals. I do
Definitely.
encourage that to any of the golf courses that don't have a junior intersectional team.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's difficult to formulate junior teams sometimes, but it is sort of it's a competitive atmosphere for junior golfers in a team environment, which is really a lot of fun. And with the match play nature of it, it takes a lot of the pressure off of some of these kids playing tournament golf because they can have bad holes and good holes and still have a chance to come out with points and be competitive. So try to encourage your juniors to get involved in the junior sectionals more because of the experience that they can get from it. And it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Flagstick Academy this week, we're tackling the chipping tackling chipping. We've moved off of the range. We're onto the putting green. We're done with putting. Now we're moving into the short game. So we tackle chipping, and you provide people with a solution that might help them achieve a better ball contact and less, we'll call it unwanted turf interaction, aka
chunking.
Less chunking.
Yeah.
Less chunking. Good tip,
yeah, good
by
feedback.
The way.
Good feedback on that one as well. So I had a good laugh because I was like, man, we did that one in one take. So, and I didn't, I picked
and it was
clean.
A good chip too. I would have liked to see it a little closer, but
sorry, doing again.
You need to tighten that up a little bit.
Okay, I'll work on that. Yeah.
All right. The PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour both in Asia this week. LPGA is in Malaysia at the Maybank Championship. Brooke Henderson is in the field. Yep. Not probably the result she wanted last week, but
this week she started with 3 under, so that's good. Let's hope so.
PGA Tour is playing the Zozo Championship. Nick Taylor, Ben Silverman, Adam Svensson in the field. 5 years since Tiger's last win took place at Zozo.
82nd win for Tiger. Obviously, he tied Sam Snead, but that's 5 years ago now. So
too bad he wasn't playing.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Maybe you'd get 83.
You never know. So and we got a couple other tours that are over there as well, involving some Canadians. So
exactly. DP World Tour is playing the Genesis Open in South Korea. Aaron Cockrell is in the field, and the Asian Tour is in Thailand. And Richard T. Lee is in that field. So
and he's actually won back after the opening round. He's 64 in the opening round. So
go Canadians, go Team Canada. Why don't you give us a little U.S. college update, Scott, as the fall season is finishing up for most of those right now?
Yeah, just some quick ones and some nice finishes with some of the Canadians. You'll usually follow. I usually do a lot on our X account, and it's not that we're not following a lot of players, but usually highlight sort of top fives and wins and stuff like that. Ashley LaFontaine from Ottawa, who plays at Elon, she finished third at the Terrier Intercollegiate. Isaiah Ibbett, who's at Kent State, he's from Orleans, he just named for his second year to Team Canada Next Gen. He tied for fifth as his team won the Dayton Flyer Invitational. And then Oakville, Ontario's Maya Cote, who plays at St. Leo, she finished third at the St. Leo Invitational in Dade City, Florida. So shout out to them. Some nice play. And we'll resume kind of college golf coverage a little bit more as we go into the spring season. Now that's the U.S. college season.
So what about Canada?
Yeah, Canada actually really, really impressive finish. They're done for the most part here in Ontario and East, but out West, UBC just continues to roll. Their men's and women's programs, they both just had tournament wins. Dylan McDonald, who's actually from Markham, Ontario, set a 54-hole record of 17 under par at the UBC Men's Invitational, including a program tying 64 in the final round. And in the women's tournament, which I believe is the Gail Moore, Bo Brown, she surged in the final round and ended up winning in a playoff for their tournament. So UBC just continues to roll. And these are events as well that don't just include Canadian schools. UBC in that men's program, they won by 12 in that, and they beat out one of the schools from Arizona in that one as well. So great stuff there on the Canadian and American college scenes for the Canadian players.
Maybe UBC should go down and play NCAA.
They play, they do.
See how smart I am?
They play NAIA, sorry. Simon Fraser plays NCAA, but yes, they do go down and play some events as well. So, yeah.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, a couple other little notes. The 2024 official film for the Masters is now available at masters.com for those that are interested. And Golf Canada has named 29 of their amateur athletes that will be part of the 2025 Team Canada and Team Canada Next Gen programs. Complete details of those teams, those programs, names are up at flagstick.com, so you can get over there to flagstick.com and check it out.
And they will name the members of the pro squad that will be added to Team Canada once the Q schools are done. So
now, just to note, I am not on that list.
Oh, geez. Well, there's no senior team?
There's no bad golfer team. Just kidding. I just like to throw it in there. It is what it is, right? It is what it is.
It definitely is what it is. So.
All right. Well, We powered through the front nine there.
We did. All good.
Things are about to get interesting. But before they do, we're going to just take a quick break here. And when we come back, we're going to have a little, I don't know, kind of trivia / questions. Now that we're both
discussion.
now that we're both 54, we're gonna have this little discussion about
It'll be fun,
things from 1970 ish.
Yes, it seems that way.
Oh, God. All right. Well, we're gonna take a break. We'll come back. We're gonna get into the back nine and talk about these things that Scott has created a list of that are birthday related. And it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. So you're listening to the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. Stay there. We will be back.
When you golf on Prince Edward Island, there are over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine. Not to mention countless miles of pristine beaches and a rich world-class culinary experience. So get here fast, then take it slow and play around on Island Time. Golf Prince Edward Island.
All right, well, welcome back to the Flagstick podcast with myself, Jeff Potter, and Scott McLeod. We got an interesting little topic in the back nine. Again, hard to top last week's topic, but we'll see. Maybe it will. You never know. You never know. The back nine this week presented by Falcon Ridge Golf Club. With 27 holes of fun and challenging golf at great rates, Falcon Ridge Golf Club is a golfing experience you can't avoid, and the experience got better this year by building the first TrackMan range facility in Eastern Ontario. TrackMan range is all about exciting, easy-to-use features that provide the ultimate golf range experience for every golfer at every level. It's practice, games, and virtual golf. Should be noted that the simulators are now open indoors at Falcon Ridge. So on those days when it's a little too chilly or a little too wet, get on the horn, book your TrackMan, your indoor TrackMan sim, so you can keep your golf going. And then when the weather's nice, the course is still open, you can head out on the course and play, or head to the range outside and use the TrackMan range.
There you go.
What a great option, eh? All right, to do that, visit falconridgegolf.ca.
Probably get about a couple weeks here from most courses.
So, yeah.
I saw some more posts today. A number of golf courses either shooting for the 27th or now November 3rd. As far as their closing dates. So get it in when you can. And as you said, if you want to start, going indoors, maybe you're not comfortable going out and playing in the cooler weather. Great option there at Falcon Ridge to go in and play their 4 TrackMan sims.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. Let's
roll.
Let's see what this is all about.
You want me
they look. This is freaking you. This is your deal.
All right,
I'm the birthday guy. I'm here along for the ride.
We just get to celebrate. So, as you mentioned, we're both 54 now. You turned 54 today as we record this. But yeah, so even if you run into Jeff after this, wish him happy birthday. Yeah. He got to 54. We're proud of him. So I decided, hey, let's look back at some things that are 54 related or 1970 related, golf or otherwise. And you're a hockey guy, also a golf guy. So I thought I'd mix in a few hockey related things as well and see if we could test your noggin. But yeah, we can talk about some of these things too as we go through and talk about them. And not, trivia is not everybody's deal. I mean, a lot of people just don't want to go back and they don't really care what happened in 1970, but I think it provokes some discussion sometimes. And look, we don't know where we're going if we don't know where we've been. So
that's right.
Let's start. I got 10 of them here. Going to be interesting. I'll have to say I had to do some research for a couple of them here. These are not just off the top of my head or whatever. I do have the answers, so fear not. And we'll go from here. So who won the most times on the PGA Tour in 1970? So 4 times he won, but he did not win the money list. So you're going to have to go through and kind of rack your brain of thinking who could have been the great players in 1970. I mean, there's some obvious ones for sure, but imagine that you win 4 times, but you don't win the money list. So obviously somebody else played extra well as far as consistently through the year, just didn't get 4 wins. Any ideas? I know you're going to have some obvious ones maybe, but
Well, I mean, there are the obvious ones, obviously that you would put in there, but I'm trying to think back.
I'll tell you, they're
I
both players. The one who won 4 times and the one who won the money list, they're both would be Hall of Fame members. So
I
big name.
want to say Tom Weiskopf.
Not a bad guess. He had his biggest year in 73 when he won the Open, but nope, not him. Do you want another guess? You would have seen this gentleman probably at a PGA show over the years. He would come and
oh God, that narrows it down too.
I know.
Seriously. Who haven't I seen at a PGA show that would have been around back in 1970? Yeah.
He was endorsing a company called Goldwyn for a while, but kind of a highly underrated player. A lot of people got to know his name over the years eventually, but certainly, he was overshadowed by a lot of top players at the time. He probably didn't get his due, that's for sure.
Yeah, see, I mean, my brain is telling me guys like Al Geiberger and like in
that's a good name.
That era. Well, got Mr. 59, right? So
yeah. So what about I'll give you maybe his name has a Halloween sort of connotation.
Oh God,
a ghostly connotation.
I have no idea. No. I got nothing on this one.
Billy Casper.
Wow.
Now, who do you think won the money list that year? Who didn't obviously have 4 wins?
Jack.
Close. Lee Trevino.
Lee Trevino. Okay.
Yeah, so this is what's going on.
Not that close, really, when you think about it.
Well, very relative as far as the player. Now, this one's going to be a little bit tougher, just because it's a name that's a little bit more out there, and but maybe you can guess the second part for sure. So, who won the Canadian Open in 1970? And we should note this is the last year they played for this, what was called the Seagrams Trophy, before it changed to a Peter Jackson Trophy after that. But this is the men's Canadian Open. And where was it hosted in 1970? This one's going to be an odd one. I either you know this one or you don't know this one.
I don't even know where it was hosted. I want to say it was. I mean, it was. Gosh, I have no idea.
Okay,
not a clue.
What do you want to know first?
Where was it hosted?
London Hunt. So this now obviously has gone on to host, the CBKC Women's Open. But it's kind of outgrown that ballpark a little bit, although it just had a recent renovation, which I'm looking forward to.
See, Canadian Opens are weird because in 1970, the PGA Tour players, a lot of the PGA Tour players were playing. Like this was
for sure. Yeah,
this was a big deal.
Yeah.
So this wasn't back when, back in the day when it was not a lot of big names playing in the Canadian Open. So it could be anybody from 1970.
Yeah, he won purse. I think was 125. He won 25,000. You're not going to get here. I'll tell you, his first name is also the name of a Muppet. You're gonna go what?
Kermit?
Yeah.
Is it Kermit Zarley?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. Wow.
Nice.
I wouldn't have got it if you hadn't given me the hint. There's not a chance that I'd even remember Kermit Zarley's name. But
it's pretty blind when you're talking about something from 54 years ago or whatever. But yeah, Kermit Zarley ended up getting that win. People will be like, "Who is that?" So go look him up, people. Interesting character for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, good call. Even with the hint there, good stuff. So, all right, let's switch to hockey for a couple of questions here.
Okay.
And see if we can test your brain. No cheating here.
No.
Who is the leading scorer in the NHL for the 1969-70 season with 120 points?
Bobby Orr.
Yeah,
that one. Yeah.
Any idea what his goals and assists were? I mean, that one's pretty tough.
Obviously, it was more goals than assists. I think.
No. The other way.
That's surprising.
Yeah, he was 33 goals and 87 assists that year for the 120 points. So, All right, follow up on this one, and we'll take his name out of it because obviously that seems pretty obvious. But back then in 1969-70, so they used to have the first and second team all-stars. They named 6 players per team, which is much different, obviously, than today.
Yeah.
Can you name 2 of the 12 members of either the first or second team All-Stars, not including Bobby Orr, which is obviously
God.
an obvious one. So,
Okay, well, let's try to think of the
I know
era.
if there's one here, if you get the one, you'll get the other automatically. You have to think back to your hockey cards as a kid.
I know that's what I'm trying to. I'm pitching because we used to have the hockey cards that said first team, second team, All-Star.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think obviously, I think it'd be obviously Gordie Howe's probably one of them.
Yeah, number one. Yeah, that's that one's right winger, obviously for Detroit and an All-Star forever. So that's a simple one.
Well, then Jean Beliveau.
No, Jean Beliveau.
Jean Beliveau was not.
Nope, not in 1970.
Really?
Nope.
Wow, because that was in and around the same era.
Yeah, I think that would be getting a little bit later in his career. So at that time,
not Bobby Orr. Well, Bobby Orr, yes, but
yeah,
Phil Esposito.
There you go. So and that was the one I said if you got him, you might get the other one.
If I got Phil Esposito, then Tony Esposito.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I get it.
See, now the thing is, if I wouldn't have known Tony Esposito would have been, I would have figured if goalies you're talking about, probably Jacques Plante.
Yeah, too late by then. So again,
maybe,
you're in 1970 and later in the career. Ed Giacomin. Giacomin.
Yeah.
So he was the other. He was the second team goalie. Why did I?
Stan Mikita was around that time too.
He was. Mikita was on the second team All-Star. Do you want me to fill you in? Who else was on the teams? Or do you want to try for more? You got Tony Esposito. You got Phil Esposito. You got Gordie Howe. Wow. Bobby Orr, we know. So that's 4 of the 6 that were the first team.
Well, Bobby Hull would have had to be in there.
Bobby Hull was number 5 of the 6. And there was one more with a B at the start of his name, and he was a defenseman. Rangers at the time, played for Boston as well during his career. Again, it'd be
with a B. A B is a first name B?
Yeah, first name B.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Again,
Nevin?
So many. Nope.
Bob Nevin?
No, Brad Park.
Oh, Brad Park. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Okay.
Now, the second team, I wouldn't challenge anyone at this one to kind of figure it out.
I'm not going to embarrass myself.
So, obviously, Ed was in there. Carl Brewer from Detroit. I'm not guessing that one. Jacques Laperriere from Montreal. Mikita that you got. John McKenzie for the Boston Bruins. And Frank Mahovlich for the Detroit Red Wings. So,
second team.
Second team. Yeah.
All right.
Tight teams back then. So
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I love going back and looking at that stuff. So, all right, let's slip back into the golf world for a little bit.
Back to golf on the golf show. All right.
Yeah, hard to believe. Name 4 brands of golf clubs that were sold in 1970 that are still being sold today. Now, the caveat here is that some of these brands are not under the same ownership, but a few of them are.
But it's still the same brand.
Yeah, same brand.
Okay,
so,
that's okay. So
I mean, so you think about that. These would have been golf brands 54 years ago. So that, no offense to the current generation who think everything started 2 years ago, but a lot of these brands have been around for a long, long time. And 54 years ago, these brands were still being sold.
Well, I gotta say, probably like the most obvious one to me is probably Titleist.
Yep.
Tommy Armour.
Technically, yeah, that would be. They're a licensee now, but the brand is still around. Yep.
70s. See, I want to say Ping, but was that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Brown since the 60s.
Well, you know what? McGregor.
Of course. There you go.
Yeah.
So you got a bunch. So yeah, if you go with those, those staples back in the day.
Yeah.
McGregor's, the Wilsons, even
because Wilson would have been around back there. I mean, Top Flight's not around. Are they still around as a brand though?
They're licensed.
Yeah,
That brand
so
is
kind of like the
licensed, but
Tommy Armour thing. They're not
it's,
really
yeah,
Tommy
it's
Armour
not.
clubs. They're
Yeah,
just kind of stamped on something made in
they have
China.
the name. Yeah, and even the like Ram and McGregor are now owned by a company out of Las Vegas.
Oh, you
Who,
remember those Ram grind wedges? Those little
Oh yeah.
tiny. Oh,
Oh yeah.
freak! Those things were amazing. Man, they ripped the crap out of a lot of balls. Those
Yeah,
things.
I've still got a couple of them
Oh,
downstairs.
those were awesome. Little tiny head too, eh? Like the
They
smallest.
were.
Yeah,
Yeah,
compared
if I
to
remember.
now, I mean, it's
Yeah, it was the cobalt wedges. Remember the
Cobalt. Yes,
cobalt?
I remember
Yeah,
those friggin' things. Damn, they
yeah.
were good.
Yeah,
Okay.
so now the brands are, they're licensed by, they license the name out to other companies, and they produce them. They're trying to get the value, I guess, out of the
But
brand
Pure
name.
McGregor is making clubs again. Like that was like they're actually
Well,
making.
it's licensed. It's a
So
licensed
it's
name.
licensed
Yeah,
too,
it's not
eh?
really the same. That company sort of went down.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not the original brands and stuff like that. Now, even a company like Titleist has changed hands over the years. It's actually owned by an equity group or whatever out of Korea or
I
whatever.
still remember when McGregor tried to make a resurgence there with the Dolphins.
Mhm.
Remember the dolphin? The dolphin. Nobody else has a clue what I'm talking about, and that's fine. Nobody else is going to know. But they came back and they had, and then at one point, Greg Norman was involved with the quadratic shaft, flex shaft, and just a whole bunch of marketing hoopla baloney.
And do you remember? It's like we're going to be the number one brand in the world. I still remember Greg Norman on that stage in Orlando saying we're going to be the number one golf brand in the world. And I was like, that's interesting. So yeah,
when somebody stands up and says something like that in this era where the number one, number two, number three brands in the world are already defined, to think that you're going to start anything new, even if it is resurging something old, and make it number one in the world, is just like that says everything you need to know about the company.
It was just really hard. I mean, there was a guy named Barry Schneider that was involved. He was the money guy, and it was just a very bold claim, especially in a room that had a lot of media, a lot of industry,
oh my gosh,
a lot of people that really understood the business. That went, whoa, okay, good
luck. Not with
but,
your quadratic flex shaft.
Yeah, if he just said, "Hey, we're going to be a leading brand" or something like that, we could have bought into that. But to make a bold claim and get it, a lot of people might buy into it. But anyway, so so there you named off some of the brands. Mizuno was out there. There's a few other brands as well, but all right. On to number 6 here. Who shares the record for the lowest 54-hole score at the Masters? So 2 players. One was 2015 and one was 2020.
Well, so recent, of course. 2015. Well, no, 2020.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of the years that Tiger won. Tiger's never really been a.
So just remember 2020. What would that have been? That would have been during COVID.
Yeah.
So that was a fall instead of the spring.
That's true.
That might be a little bit of a hint if you remember that. The softer golf course.
2020.
He's not currently on the PGA Tour.
Molinari?
No.
Who won that year?
He's not currently on the PGA
If you tell me who won, that's going to tell me the answer, isn't it? Yeah, he's not currently on the PGA Tour either.
Took some cash and went elsewhere.
Oh, was that... Did DJ win it that year? Yeah. So he was. He would have been the 54 hole. Yeah, I can see that. I can see it took some cash. Well, that doesn't narrow it down a whole lot because,
well,
Bubba Watson did too. Bubba Watson did the same thing, and I got to think Bubba Watson was he not around? So then the other one you said was 2015.
2015. So a current player on the PGA Tour who maybe struggled a bit this year, from Texas, made his first appearance.
Oh, Jordan Spieth.
You got it. Yeah. Okay. So those are the 2. They were basically, I'm trying to think what that was.
They both win that year, those years too, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. So let me think. Jordan was 64, 66, 70, and Dustin was 65, 70, 65. So all right, we'll move on here. What golf company started by a famous golfer started club production in 1954? I know it's not 1970, it's 54. As far as I'm not saying you're
Oh, I
born in
see what you're doing there.
54.
I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 54.
Yeah. I didn't put any live questions in here, by the way, which, 54, but, I could have.
Okay. Started in 54 by a famous golfer.
He could have fit into the, obviously, the other question.
Nicholas?
Nope. Nicholas made his PGA Tour debut in he won his first check in 1962 at LA.
Okay, well then that kind of Hogan.
Aha, there you go. Started the company in 53. First club production came in 1954.
Good clubs too.
Very good clubs.
Oh my God, the Hogan Apex. Remember the original Apex blades? And then there was the redo of the Apex blade a bunch of years later. They had the whole Apex series that they did at one point when Hogan was bought by Top Flight.
Callaway,
or was it Callaway?
They were Spalding, and then they were Callaway.
Yeah, and they'd had that whole resurgence where they had the Apex blade, the cavity back one, and then the slightly oversized one.
Yeah, and they're around again. I mean, they have some good products that are out there as well.
Nice to see this Hogan signature on the back of a club, eh?
Yeah, different format for sure. Yeah, great stuff. So, all right, back to 1970 on the PGA Tour. We did have a Canadian that won on the PGA Tour in 1970. Who was it?
God. Well, 70 was too late.
Not a lot of options.
70 was too late for Knudsen, right? Oh, it was Knudsen.
No,
I thought he won earlier than that.
He did, but he also won later than that.
Oh, okay. So he did. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he won.
I get your question now. He won in 70 doesn't mean he didn't win before that, but yeah.
Correct. Exactly.
$1 million swing and a 10-cent putter, eh?
Yeah. He won 8 times on the tour before.
Notice none of his natural golf swing book doesn't talk about putting.
No, it doesn't, but fantastic.
A great book, though.
A great book. So I still have to, I give away too many copies of that.
Still relevant to a point.
Very relevant, actually. Yeah.
Well, a lot of the thing is, I noticed a lot of the new technology with the launch monitor technology. It doesn't diminish his ideas. It enhances them. I guess that's my point. Is like because he didn't have that technology, so the whole path thing and all that. I mean, he was. When he talks in his book about hitting a draw or a fade, he talks about face angle and path.
Sure, yeah.
But now we have all this technology that tells us so much more about face angle and path and angle of attack and smash factor and all that stuff. Well,
yeah, I think what it does, it sort of it just quantifies kind of what they did. Same as Hogan. I mean, if people look back, and I'll throw out a weird term, and people don't dig into it or not dig into it, you don't really have to. But there's a term called D plane, which again deals with path and face and whatever. And if you dig through Hogan's books, you realize that quickly that he sort of figured that out on his own. He didn't know what he was doing, but he knew it made the golf ball go as straight as he needed. So we have the luxury now of some other ways to measure things. So all right, we've got 2 left here.
Okay.
What Ottawa area golf club hosted the Canadian Men's Amateur Championship in 1970? I would give you 10,000 billion bonus points if you could actually name who won it, but you're probably not going to name him. But
hang on a second.
No. Those bonus points are not worth anything. So
who hosted it? Ottawa area. Well,
there's probably only a few clubs that could.
My brain tells me one thing, my gut tells me another. So my gut is telling me Rivermead. My brain is telling me Hunt Club.
Your brain is right.
Yeah.
Your brain is right. Alan Miller ended up winning. And
I would have never gotten that.
No, Alan Miller ended up going on to play on the PGA Tour. And then his wife, Cindy Miller, is a prominent teaching professional. Course, actually, we had, I think a few years ago, I posted about this championship, and I actually tagged her. And she was delighted the fact that, somebody would remember it and talk about it or whatever. So kind of neat. So, all right. Last one here. weird when I look at the question here, but it's basically what two teams joined the NHL in 1970.
1970.
And here's the hint that won't be a hint. The one team, the goalie who got the first shutout for that team
played for the Montreal Canadiens.
His son was my college classmate.
The hell would I know that? God. Well, thanks for the hint, Scott McLeod. Like I know I know one of your college roommates, but that which would have been Finley.
Oh yeah, Dave.
That's the one college roommate. The other college roommates, I haven't even got a clue. But I think the answer is the Minnesota North Stars and the St. Louis Blues.
No, Blues were rocking back then, but they came in the 1960s. So,
but it was Minnesota.
Was it?
Was it Minnesota 70? Oh, wait a second. Hang on. What two teams joined in 70?
Yeah. One's American, one's Canadian.
70. Hang on a second here. WHA expansion wasn't until 79. So it can't be Edmonton or Winnipeg.
But it could be a clubs that had previous history under other leagues.
Oh, okay. So Atlanta.
Nope.
All right, hang on a second here.
I know. You know what? I used to know all these, and then when I went back to look at this 1970, I was like, oh, I knew the one, but I forgot about the other. It took me a nudge for sure.
I thought for sure Minnesota. So
well, there's
the Island. No, the Islanders.
So this is the 70-71 expansion.
So the Islanders.
No.
Okay. Holy shoot. 70-71.
So you want to go? Let's try to figure out the.
Well, then okay. So the Nordiques then.
Nope.
But there was a Canadian team.
Yep. And well, by coincidence,
then it'd have to be Vancouver because Calgary was Atlanta.
Correct.
So that was not expansion. That was
Vancouver. You got
Vancouver. Okay.
This was actually the first year, by the way, that there was no Canadian team in the playoffs for the first time ever. But yeah, especially with such a small league. It was the first time in the history of the NHL.
And the other team was American.
Correct. Barely American.
What the heck does that even mean? What is with you and the freaking weird hints and stuff? Well, it's my roommate in college that I had no idea. And it's barely American.
It might mean something to somebody else.
Barely American.
Yeah. You'll know what I mean when you figure it out. That could be geography.
And it wasn't Minnesota. Hang on a second here. Is that the year that Seattle came in? No. Well, or not Seattle, Oakland.
Oh, they were renamed that year.
Yeah.
But they were not. There wasn't a new team at that point.
Barely American.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! Why can I not get this?
I
know
Go through the teams.
That's what I'm doing. I know every NHL team, and I'm trying to think of the one that would have been expansion teams back then. 70 when Vancouver came in. Pittsburgh.
Minnesota was 67, by the way. So
67. Because St. Louis and Minnesota, I thought, came in at the same time.
No, St. Louis was before that. They did. They were 67, I believe, as well. Because they had a run. They were in the Stanley Cup Finals multiple times there.
70, so you can rule out Florida and Tampa and all that crap.
Yeah, that one's easy.
Islanders.
Yeah, because there were 6 teams came in 67, which obviously St. Louis was one of those, right? So
not Ottawa, obviously. Eastern or Western?
Eastern.
Good Lord.
A lot of people will go here to watch Toronto Maple Leafs games.
Oh, Buffalo.
Yeah.
Now I understand the barely American. Okay. Now I get it. Friggin' Buffalo.
I thought that might like bring you close to the border and you'd start to, kind of look at that or whatever. But
well, that's why I had Islanders in my head, because
Right,
Long
of
Island
course.
it's close enough, but
yeah,
and then Pittsburgh and
yeah.
wow.
So,
Okay.
anyways,
so
there you go.
Buffalo and Vancouver in 1970. I see
You
that. I
got
did
it.
not know.
Yeah, Dunk Wilson was the guy who got the first shutout for the Vancouver Canucks, and then his son was my my college schoolmate. So
Not Dave Finley.
Dave Flindle.
That was
Flindle.
it. Now I get it. Okay. Flindle.
Valuable name when you need to book ice in Kingston.
Here you go. Okay.
Good dude.
All right.
There you go.
Well,
Some trivia to celebrate your 54th birthday. So.
And I do appreciate that, and I hope that everybody else did also.
I hope so.
Comedically listening to me toil over answers, and
I wonder how many people are like.
Clearly, I'm struggling.
Yeah, I wonder how many people are like screaming into their earbuds.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's Buffalo. It's Buffalo.
Oh, come on, Potter, get it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, we did have a great response to Would You Rather last week, so we're really would like to get some feedback on what the listeners would like to hear more about over the winter months. So more games, more instruction, travel, equipment. Give us a holler, message, email, whatever. Let us know if you want us to bring on any guests and talk to some guests about things. If you want more of what we just did, give us a topic. We're game.
We're game.
We don't shy away from much of anything, so don't concern yourself with that. Any topic, we're good. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, obviously, since we're all over the board.
Oh yeah. We like being all over the board. It is the winter month, so
we'll be talking bocce before you know it.
No, we won't. And we won't be talking pickleball. I can tell you that now. So don't even send that in. I'm not talking pickleball.
You said anything?
No, anything but pickleball.
All right.
All right.
Fair enough.
Well, thanks for listening, Scott. That was a great show, especially a great back nine once again. I love these topics.
Enjoy your birthday today.
Thank you very much. I won't. Thanks to our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Falcon Ridge Golf Club, and our presenting sponsor this week, again, Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is premier Canadian golf destination, boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country, with over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine, top-tier accommodations, and exquisite culinary experiences. It is the easiest golf vacation you will ever book. So book your golf vacations at golfpei.ca. Certainly hope that you've been enjoying listening and watching. Be sure to follow us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, and Facebook. TikTok, and subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us, and click the notification bell, and make sure that you never miss anything that we post up on the YouTube channel. And head over to flagstick.com. That's where all the good stuff is, the real good stuff. More amazing golf content is delivered to that website every single day. And be sure to subscribe to Flagstick Digest newsletter, because that's how we send it directly to you in your inbox 3 times a week. It's the easiest way possible to stay on top of everything that is going on. But as always, we do appreciate you tuning in. But until next week, I am Jeff Botter.
And I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.
Happy birthday, Jeff.